Kicking off the summer season of Lumen Repertory Theater's Subversive season is a classic play with some very current messages about economic anxiety and survival. And here to discuss it is Brian Neese, artistic director at Lumen Repertory Theater, who also plays the character Donny. Good morning. Nice
Good
to have you,
morning, Ann.
Brian.
Good to be here.
All right. We're also joined by David Alford, who is the actor playing Teach in American Buffalo. Good morning.
Hi.
Nice to have you. We're
Thanks.
also joined by WJCT's own digital media director, Ray Hollister, who is the founder and theater critic at JaxPlays. Hey, Ray.
Hey, good morning.
So, Brian, this is the summertime version of the subversive season that Lumen Rep has been in the midst of. Tell us a little bit about American Buffalo and why it was an appropriate choice for the subversive season.
Well, it definitely heats things up for the summer. We started the season with a three actor play that was all females and focused very much on questioning the mirrors we hold up to ourselves.
That was Agnes of
Agnes
God.
of God, yeah, very powerful. I think eventually uplifting piece of theater.
Yeah.
And this summer we have a three actor play, David Mamet's American Buffalo, which is all males, and holds up a very realistic mirror to all of the ugliness, perhaps, that jealousy and loyalty and betrayal and sketchy friendship brings in the underbelly of society, even 50 years after it was written, still incredibly relevant.
What is the currency of a play like this, Ray? David Mamet obviously has, known for his incredible dialogue. Certainly a kind of, I think all of his plays are all men, right? They're kind of
Most
a
of them,
yeah.
male-oriented
Females, yeah.
artist, but incredibly powerful.
Well, it really holds up a mirror to what issues toxic masculinity can bring to culture and to the individuals themselves and what they have to deal with and express in their own personal life.
Because they're wrestling with conflict among one another,
Yeah.
and also, battling with issues like betrayal,
Yeah.
friendship. But a
The,
lot
the
of that
nickel
is
is just an excuse to deal with their crap.
well, explain to us the buffalo, the American buffalo in the
Sure.
title. It references a coin.
Yeah, it's a coin, and you guys are much more experienced or knowledgeable of that because they've been living in this text. But the idea is that a buffalo nickel is sold, and it's just a pawn shop, so it's just another thing that got sold. But then he starts to realize, wait a minute, maybe that was worth a lot more than I realized.
The shop owner
The shop owner,
that
yeah.
Brian plays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what ensues, David? This becomes your character is kind of a
Right.
catalyst, I would say, in this
Right.
drama.
Yeah, I play Teach. The idea is that all of these people are sort of on the underside of acceptability in society. They're really scrambling. They're hustling. They're trying to make a living any way they possibly can. And my character, Teach, is somebody who's definitely sort of on the margins, and he sees an opportunity to maybe make a score, right, with this nickel and to help Donny go in and sort of steal this coin back, along with whatever else this coin collector guy might have that they've identified as what they call the mark, right? This is the mark. One of the things that Mamet does so well is capture the dialogue and the way people communicate with each other, sort of on the underside of society. People who are living on the edge, especially we're talking about the mid 1970s, so it's a very different time.
Can't you tell by the facial hair? We're talking about 75.
We're talking about the mid 1970s, and these people are sketchy. And that's one of the things he captures. And one of the things that's so great for audiences to come and see is to watch people behaving badly.
Yeah.
I think many of us like that,
Yeah.
right? And Mamet was incredibly influential for writers like Martin McDonagh and of course Quentin Tarantino. This kind of the way people talk to each other, aggressives, hypermasculinity, and also, but just behaving in questionable ways,
Yeah.
right? People like to see that. We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a
want-
lot of people are familiar with Glengarry Glen Ross, which is another Mamet classic play.
And on
Yeah.
Broadway right now.
That's right.
that's
And back on Broadway. That's right. And there's some big names in it, right?
Yeah. Odenkirk and
Yeah.
a former child actor who escapes me now.
Right.
Is-
So
shoot, yeah.
this is same thing. Language is very powerful in this. Is it hard to have such a magnetic script and deliver it in a fresh way? The language is so seductive in a way that it seems like you could kind of fall into a pattern with
Yeah,
it.
well, I mean, the beauty of bringing somebody like David and his talent back to Jacksonville, we're trying to raise the bar with what we present. And Mamet, we will either fail or succeed on the edge of a knife. If we fall into the rhythm correctly, it just sort of happens. If we've done our due diligence and preparation, the issue is when you try to think of something too precious that Mamet's like, no, just say it, just say the words,
Mhm.
And you can probably speak more to that.
No,
than I
it's,
can.
well, it's catnip. I mean, for an
Yeah, yeah,
actor,
yeah, it
I mean,
is.
it's just so much fun.
He doesn't give line read in his
No,
plays, right? He doesn't tell you how to deliver
no.
it or what
That's right.
expression you're wearing or kind of
But he writes the pauses.
he writes the
and
pauses.
and we need to know the pause. It's like
Yeah.
Beckett. You have to pay attention to the
Yeah.
rhythm.
For the layman out there who might be listening about theater, what was referencing is that very often in little parentheticals, little italics, sometimes writers will tell you how to say a line. They'll say angry or sad or crying. Mamet doesn't do any of that. It's all, there's none of that, but he does write in the pauses.
Yeah.
So, and he trusts the actors to find the meaning in all those pauses. And if you're doing it, and if you're talking to each other and really connecting, there's a kind of fire that happens when you're working together, and that's one of the reasons that people love to do this playwright. The actors do, because there's so much juice
There is.
and electricity if you start to capture that rhythm.
And you have to
Yeah.
listen. The height of
Yeah.
our craft is when you can listen well. And in Mamet, we don't find those authentic, organic moments unless we're listening to each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
Ray, what's the experience like watching a play like this for a theater goer?
Yeah.
And how is that going to play in the studio that it's actually going to be performed at here at WJCT?
So it's very much like being a fly on the wall. It doesn't feel as much as you're watching people recite a play and they're just going through the motions. It feels like you're in a pawn shop in the 70s. I mean, ironically, like we were talking about, like if it was set now, well, one of them would got on their iPhone and look up on eBay and say, "Oh yeah, it's not worth anything." Okay,
Into play.
Right.
Fortunately, it was set in the 70s, so there's a story. But yeah, so that natural language that you guys were talking about, the pauses that breathe and that have this momentum to them. It's part of the way we speak. Like it's part of how we talk. It's not as rehearsed and strict and rigid. It's just the way language happens and the way we express our thoughts and our feelings. So it creates this environment where you get to experience this moment and experience what they went through and what they felt, because it's like being there.
Yeah.
And speaking of the space, WJCT
Oh, yeah.
Studio B, we decided to embrace the immediacy of it. So when the audience walks in, they'll be walking through the pawn shop door.
Yeah.
We should say
onto the
Studio
set.
B is a small kind
Small.
of black
Yeah, it is.
box theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
50 people max per performance can watch this. But we are making the whole thing a pawn shop. And so they'll walk onto the set and be there, and they'll sit. Some of them may sit in pawn shop chairs.
Yeah. So a really immersive
performance.
experience, really make you feel like you're a part of it in there.
And who helped kind of design that concept to have it be in first of all, in that setting, that intimate theater setting, but also one that is you're kind of built into the set?
Well, Tyler Hammond, our co-director, and Claire Semino, our set designer, sort of embraced this idea of let's just get it. And also Cool Vintage Stuff. Have to give a shout out to
Yeah.
them. The store down on King Street. We shot a promo video there, and he's basically giving us free reign to bring in some authentic 1970s junk
Oh,
into
nice.
our junk store.
Nice. And
And-
David, you've done, I mean, more than 40 productions, 70 professional theater roles. You've been in the TV series Nashville, the Blacklist, The Good Fight. You've been in a lot of, professional productions, and you were here for the Lumen production of Zoo Story
Yeah.
by Edward Albee. But what is it that appeals to you about coming for this role particularly?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, obviously, the chance to work with Brian again. I had a really good experience last summer, and Brian and I knew each other and worked with each other in Nashville for many, many years. So I trust Brian. I trust his vision. I really enjoyed the experience last time of working with the people at Lumen. There's something aspirational and very cool about a new professional theater company. The things that Brian and everybody else that works with Lumen are trying to achieve, that's fun for me. I love to be a part of that energy, that fire. But also, as I said, Mamet is catnip. I mean, it's if you say, "Hey, do you want to play Teach in American Buffalo?" But before he could finish, I said yes. I don't think he even got the end of the words. Yes, I absolutely want to do that. Um, the challenge of a role like this, I think it's one of the great roles in American theater. Personally, it's a role that actors talk about. Like, have you? I got a chance to play Teach. Oh, cool.
Wow. Yeah.
It's that kind of role. And that kind of experience, and the way Brian laid it out, and the intimacy of the experience. So it's going to feel, theater and film are very different approaches for an actor. But this kind of definitely going to be theater because of the energy of it, but also the fact that we're in such a tight, small space. We're going to be able to really listen and behave and talk in what I hope will feel a naturalistic way, so that people will feel like they're a fly on the wall.
Brian, remind us what is different or unique about Lumen for people who aren't familiar with kind of your mission and your
Well,
actual arrangement of actors and how they interact with you.
we're in our third season, and from the beginning, we've been fully professional, not for profit, equity affiliated theater company, which means we're affiliated with Actors Equity Association, the Union for Professional Actors and Stage Managers in the United States. And everyone gets paid on our productions a fair, equitable wage. There are break times, there are days off. We approach it as a profession, and we want to not be the only ones in Northeast Florida eventually, so we can retain talent here and invest in that talent with money, resources, benefits, etc.
And one of the things that you offer is this Next Gen program, which is designed to kind of bring in young people who maybe aren't exposed to theater or maybe can't really afford a professional theater production.
Yeah, if we want to build audiences for the future, let's just take down all the barriers. And so you can go, if you are a student, high school or college student, the code NEXTGEN, all one word, capitals, you get a free ticket to come see any of our shows. Be forewarned, there is strong language and adult themes in this one.
Sure.
So this would be rated R, so get parental permission if you're under 18. But please come see us.
Ray, what are you most looking forward to?
In this show, well, I mean, not to be redundant, but the experience of being there in that moment. I will brag a little bit on David. In Slow Burn in Zoo Story, the thing that stood out to me the most is how just an expression could like totally change the moment. He would really own the stage with just his tone and his expressions that were just like chilling sometimes, and you could really feel like you're a part of what's happening.
Well, it will be an exciting performance. It runs from June 13th to June 28th, and you can get more info at lumenrep.org. Brian Neese, David Alford, Ray Hollister, thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You.